right, folks, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund's mandate is all about investing in community development. And here with more details, the Managing Director, Mr. Omar Sweeney, my good friend. Haven't seen you for a while. Morning, sir.
Morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica. So JSIF was brought into being to, I know I just said something a while ago, but for what? When you say help out?
Yeah, 20 years ago, JSIF was brought into being to really be a part of the government's instruments that would deal with poverty alleviation. And so since then, annually, we impact 40 to 50,000 ordinary Jamaicans. I mean, if you multiply that by 20 years, you're talking about 1 million people, close to 1/3 of our population. And then that does not even speak about what we call the indirect beneficiaries, which are the families. So, you know, if you take a family of 4, you're talking about close to 2 million people that would have been impacted.
What is the impact? Break it down for us. I know you're going to communities. You've put in sanitary facilities. You've really changed a lot of lives.
Yeah, we work in about 6 sectors. So we work in education, we work in health and sanitation, we work on water supply systems, we work in crime and citizen security initiatives. So our mandate really is to provide access to the vulnerable and to the underserved. Ordinary Jamaicans who perhaps can't attend the best schools, get the best health facilities, for farmers who want better farming equipment and other livelihood type skills training. So that's how we make, and as our name says, social investment. So we really invest really to, you know, knit the social fabric of Jamaica together.
So how does it work and where you get your money from? In other words, do I come to you and say, well, boy, I live in Vineyard Town and I need some help in here and here, or do you find out the different areas that you want?
Right, we're guided by the poverty map of Jamaica, which is the Planning Institute of Jamaica really keep track of that data through the survey of living conditions, and Statin provides some information also, as well as our international partners like the World Bank and the European Union, the Caribbean Development Bank, that monitor Jamaica's development indexes. And so all of that comes together along with the Ministry of Finance and the government to define strategic investments that we would need to really serve our populace, which is the poor.
Can we talk a little bit about that poverty map? What
Yes.
are the stats showing us about poverty?
Well, the stats still show us that really in Jamaica now, the preponderance of poverty remains in the rural areas.
Really?
Yes, I mean, it's not perceived that way because when we see the stark poverty in the inner cities, but poverty, more than 60% of the poverty in Jamaica now still is in the rural areas. So we have to continue to invest there and stop what is known as the rural to urban migration. And so that is really how you really get to the root cause of what's happening in the inner cities.
Yeah.
If you can keep persons gainfully employed and have the ability to carry on their lives in the rural areas, then you can stop that shift. And so that's where we like to focus.
In this case, poverty means what?
Well, poverty means, like I said, we deal especially with what we call public poverty. Poverty means, you know, what access do you have to education? What access do you have to jobs? What access do you have to other services?
In other words, they can't afford to send people to school or what?
Well, in many cases they can't afford it, but also in some cases the facilities that are there are just not to standard. So you would have even seen in the paper yesterday, there's a school in Glengoff, I think it was, and if you look at the condition of the school, it's just really not suitable for where you would want to educate young minds. And so these are the types of areas we target.
And when you go in, you do what?
Well, we really do a comprehensive assessment of what's happening in the community in terms of how they're impacted by the poverty around them, and then we provide the solutions to that. And so our solutions really encompass the full menu of everything except housing.
So let's talk a little bit about the social intervention aspect, social capital, which I think a lot of people underestimate the potential and the power of, and we need more of that in the communities to take us out of the same poverty that we're talking about, which is where you come in again, especially now we're looking to implement these zones of special operations. Not going to work without people like JSIF going in and trying, injecting some social capital in there to assist.
Yes, and social capital is important. You saw recently also in the media, it was reported in terms of Jamaicans, 8% of Jamaicans don't trust that the person, you know, is honest. And as we go into communities, we have to build that social capital. We have to build trust. We have to build trust because persons have an experience that really lots of promises have been made and have not come through, or we all know that persons really move towards their own self-interest. And so agencies like JSIF, we put a lot of value in building that trust and building the social capital. And that means organizing groups, really giving them a vision of what they can achieve, and then delivering it. The big part about it is to deliver and be accountable for it. And then our communities and our beneficiaries we work with really can feel empowered to really carry on and solve their own problems. Yeah. And that's because of the trust and the fabric and the governance that's built in these communities.
You already said that you're guided by the poverty map, but having said that, can anyone reach out to you and say they have some area that they need you to come in and see if you could help?
Yeah, absolutely. And our mechanism on our website, social media, Facebook, the full menu, you can apply for projects to JSIF. Typically, like I said, the projects have to really address this aspect of public poverty. And our applications are in our office. You can come in for consultation. We can advise you whether the JSIF is the best, because not every project will suit JSIF's investment, but we can also give you a consultation and advise you what is the best way to access the funds.
How much money you spend like for a year on stuff like
Roughly
this?
$2.5 billion.
2.5 billion.
Yes,
Jamaican.
roughly $2.5 billion.
That's a serious chunk of change.
Significant.
Yeah.
It's significant, and it's necessary to really deal with some of the issues that the vulnerable face.
And still, you wonder, is that enough? Because even when you spend that, there is still so much more.
If you ask me, it's not.
Because the need is great.
But the country is in a difficult situation, and so what we try to do, and our partnership with communities where they contribute, that's a significant partnership because it really helps to reduce the costs and enable us to provide more benefits. Yeah.
Even though what Sim just said, that is not enough. Do you see the day that you won't be needed? There's this 2030 vision. Do you see that there?
Absolutely. Every day we work hard to work ourselves out of a job. That's the truth. Because
but probably you'll have a job forever.
Well, yeah, we know that despite everything else, the innovations that we have brought in communities, we've brought standardized buildings for basic schools. We've brought environmental certification. New technology for farmers to do farming to fight the drought. So these are aspects that, rich or poor, we'll continue to push forward with. So yes, we want to work ourselves out of a job, but we have a lot to contribute because we've had the benefit of international expertise in providing this assistance. And so what we want to do is transfer that knowledge.
All right. Thanks for coming. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work.
Yeah. Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, Mr. Omar Sweeney.